everyone, my name is Ashley Woodle. I am a high school autism teacher here in California, and I have this week's journal assignment is on behaviors, and out of the 6 students, I had all 6 students with behavior intervention plans. 2 students who have shown improvement and have actually come off of their behavior intervention plans this year. 1 student who showed a significant increase in behaviors and actually earned himself a behavior intervention plan, and the other students who came with them and have maintained continued use of them. So the behaviors that of the 6 students that I have in my class, the 2 students with behavior intervention plans who came off of them, the first student had a behavior intervention plan for minor elopement, which was defined just as getting up out of his seat and kind of wandering around. And in his previous placement, he also showed major elopement, where he would leave the classroom and go to either the basketball court or to listen to the band, all the way to the band room. So he does not engage in major elopement anymore. He does not leave the classroom. And he is verbal. He is the only student in my class who's verbal. So we have increased communication and included a token economy system where he can work to earn both of those things, because we know that they're highly motivating for them. And that showed a significant improvement in his behaviors. He still engages in minor elopement. He'll get up. He really needs a lot of movement, which, you know, he's not the most severe student in my class, so we have frequent movement breaks, and that's really not a problem within his placement right now. So it seemed appropriate to no longer continue the behavior intervention plan that he was on. And he does really well with our classroom management strategies and has shown some significant improvements since he started with us in October. The next student who no longer has a behavior intervention plan had 2 different things on his behavior intervention plan. One was spitting, and the other one an aggression. And so he engaged in one instance of aggression this school year where he hit, but it wasn't with significant force, and it didn't really seem to do with frustration. It was more of an impulsive hit. He didn't seem frustrated or overwhelmed. There was no prompt. He was just kind of in this waiting period, and he really likes Avengers. So he loves the Hulk, and that's one of the things that he does. So we just really we included a social story, and we've been working on that. He spit twice this year, both at teachers, and that did seem frustration related. More like he just needed to communicate that he needed a break. So that was another option that we allowed him to start working for, was on his token economy system. We made it an immediate reinforcement where if he did one task, he could work for a break, so that we could learn we could teach the break strategy, and then we increased the amount of work tasks that were needed and gave him break cards that he could use. So he no longer needs the behavior intervention plan. We were able to take that off in his last IEP meeting, which was really good. But again, he does continue to need a classroom support plan to just make sure that he maintains that and continues to work towards success in that area. The other 4 students in my class, the most interesting guy is the one who had developed significant behaviors toward the end of the last school year, and then had a really difficult summer. Parents put him on medication this summer, and then had decided to take him off of it because they weren't seeing too much of a change in behaviors. He went from verbal to functionally nonverbal in the course of like a calendar year. And really seemed to show signs of aggression and signs of a lot of impulsivity. Since parents have taken him off of the medication that we thought really wasn't working, or that they had thought that. He went from like 28 instances of aggression to 91 instances of aggression, so it does seem like it was supporting him in some way. And the medical doctor suggested putting him on a different medication, but one of the parents had declined. So he's currently not taking medication. The behavior intervention plan that we have really focuses on a token economy system. Aside from aggression, we're also targeting throwing, which is another impulsive thing that he does. Doesn't really seem behavioral in the sense that it's not related to like an overwhelming feeling or anger or anything like that. It seems a little bit more sensory based, but we cannot come up with a sensory diet that's meeting the needs because we continue to see an increase in those behaviors. And so it's throwing, aggression, hands in his pants, which is actually masturbation, and elopement. So we have used a bunch of different strategies to target all of those. For his hands in his pants, the best one that we could come up with was something to keep his hands ready, in addition to a social story to talk about when that behavior would be appropriate. We had a great deal of parent support for that social story because it's a little bit of a touchy subject. Whether or not they're going to talk about it as appropriate in a specific location or how we would like to handle that. So we taught, that in his bedroom would be an appropriate place for that. But again, it seems like a really neurological thing what's going on, and the entire team agrees. So we seem to just be like circling back through this conversation. His mom thinks it's ADHD. His doctor agrees. But dad doesn't want to try that medication. His two brothers, who are neurologically typical, both have ADHD, and so does mom. So it seems like there is a family history on that, and if the doctor agrees that that would be the right way, it would make sense that our behavioral strategies and interventions aren't really working, which is unfortunate. Our other three kids with behavior intervention plans all include elopement and aggression, and one of them also includes disrobing. So for those three students, we have not seen actually any change in behavior. Two of those students are cognitively in the mod severe range, and our other guy is in the mild mod range cognitively. So for him, he's shown progress, but on the instances when he does show aggression, disrobement, or elopement, it's always really high intensity. Either the location that he chooses to elope from or disrobe in is not a safe choice, or the aggression that he engages in is really harmful. So while it doesn't happen every single day, whereas most of the other students do, when it does happen, it's a big deal. So it's really hard to feel like there's progress in that area. Our data says that there is. It's happening less frequently, which is great. But again, that high level intensity is just something that it's really difficult to work with from the staff end of that. The other two students are, like I said, in the mod severe range cognitively, and they both have communication devices, so that seems to be our focus when we're working with those students. We're trying to teach different strategies, different ways that they can communicate what they need. For both of those students, it seems like both of them are requesting a break. It's usually task driven or sensory overload, where they're in our general education setting, either in PE or at lunch, both outside, and it's just overstimulating for them, and both of them really want to get away. That's the elopement piece of it. And then also, if they can't get away, they're going to harm whatever is blocking them. So if it's a student who's in the way, they'll push right through them, hurt them, hit them, kick them, pull their hair. If it's a staff member, same thing. It doesn't seem to be targeted exactly at the same person every time, but just at the person at the barrier, whoever is in between that student and where they're trying to get to. So we continue to work on those things. Continue to try to teach with very simple visual social stories for those kiddos. And hopefully over time we will see improvement. I've only been teaching them since August. Actually, both of the students had a late start this year. So my one student came in October, and then the second student came, actually he just started coming to school in March because he had a pretty compromised immune system, and the COVID implications were pretty scary for him. So we're hoping to see some progress. Typical past IEP teams really have not shown to make significant gains in that area with the students. So we hope that, in a new environment with a new team, we will see some progress. We are hopeful. So that's my summary. Those are my 6 kiddos. They are an awesome bunch. They're really interesting. I love the data collection part. I love the critical thinking piece of this. I love the problem solving. I love the sensory piece, and I really like what they bring to my life. Although I just talked about all of the challenges, they really are an awesome group, and I enjoy working with them. So that's all. Thank you.